It was the weekend, and Will was heading home, expecting 2 days of solitude, a preference he held dear. Despite his fondness for alone time, his closest friend, Mike, disapproved and often felt a tinge of sadness for Will and his loneliness. Mike, in an attempt to nudge Will toward social connections, even created Will's account on a dating app, but Will remained uninterested. During that particular weekend, a revelation struck Will, as Mike shared an online blog post detailing the traits of a lone wolf. Will recognized himself in those words. If you too find solace in solitude and wonder why it happens, watch this video until the end. Discover 10 traits of the lone wolf power of introverts, and see for yourself if you are one of them. William was an average 30-year-old guy working as a software developer, navigating his life like every other man, but a void lingered. Although his inclination toward solitude from the start, this preference grew big with time. Will even quit looking for a new partner post his breakup 2 years ago. He embraced weekends immersed in shows, books, and video games with his close friend Mike at home. Mike became concerned about Will's deepening solitude and thought it was depression or stress that Will had concealed inside him. Despite an account on a dating app created by Mike, Will remained uninterested in seeking companionship. Mike confused Will's signs of loneliness with either he is pining for his last ex or he is grappling with mental distress. But all of these doubts soon faded when an online blog post caught the eye of Mike. He read through each of those traits and they were perfectly resonating with Will's habits. It was concluded that Will was actually a lone wolf introvert and not a gloomy chap. Do you think you're a lone wolf too but aren't certain? Watch this video and see if Will's 10 traits appear relatable to you. Number 10. A small friend circle. Although Will was a lone wolf, it didn't mean he was lonely. His circle was small, comprising probably 2 or 3 friends, with a genuine connection, notably Mike. He didn't possess tons of friends or befriend everyone he met, simply because he only preferred quality rather than quantity. Due to this reason, many people around Will perceived him as antisocial, unlikable, and in the worst-case scenario, arrogant. Will was too picky in friendships stemming either from trust issues or instinct. But once someone entered his wolf pack, they secured a place for a lifetime. If you are not that much of a social butterfly and don't engage casually with everyone you just come across, then you might be that lone wolf. Number 9. Self-awareness. Will was a fully self-aware person. To cut it short, he knew what were his shortcomings, potential, and strengths. He felt confident in his abilities. For instance, if a person were expecting him to do a certain task, he had a strong feeling that he wouldn't disappoint them. No matter what, Will never overlooked his feelings and emotions. Instead, he recognized and embraced them. He knew what aspects of his personality made him appear similar or different from other people. If you too are self-aware and have little to no regard for other people's opinions about you, you already know what you are. Number 8. Deep conversations. A powerful sign that you might be a lone wolf is you hate chit-chats and gossip. Much like Will, engaging in conversations about trivial matters, like getting late for work or missing breakfast, he would often zone out. Even discussions about personal life failed to capture his attention. On the other hand, if someone began a deep discussion with him, Will would be all ears to them and may even engage with them the whole night. In group settings, a lone wolf is a silent observer, choosing to speak only when they have something substantial to say. Their words, when spoken, carry weight, leaving others astonished. Number 7. Self-reliant. Self-reliance is a hallmark of lone wolves, stemming from their complete self-awareness. They don't need anyone to validate them on what they are and how they look. Will knew how to manage himself alone, having that bold and robust confidence to pursue his desires without seeking the approval of others. For instance, when switching job roles, Will, unlike everyone else, made the decision independently, without discussing it with his family and friends. This is because lone wolves make decisions for themselves without concern for others' views, and while it is instinctive to look for validation, these individuals don't live for it. Number 6. Alone time. Will, an introvert, felt most relaxed and satisfied in his solitude. It wouldn't be wrong to say Will viewed it as a source of recharging. While many enjoy spending time with close friends, for lone wolves like Will, social interactions can be energy draining. Will, an introvert, felt most relaxed and satisfied in his solitude. In group conversations, Will felt his energy depleting gradually, which would prompt him to withdraw himself and seek refuge in a quiet corner, and ultimately saying goodbye to that hectic crowd. If you resonate with this trait, you might find yourself echoing a nonchalant, "I don't care," when no one disturbs you, not considering it as an embarrassment or a way to assess your self-worth. Plus, the idea of spending your weekend chilling alone at home doesn't unease you, but you can live with it the whole week. Number 5. Clear boundaries. One of the most solid traits of a lone wolf is they don't take crap from anyone. If someone is giving them mistreatment, that would be the final encounter of that person with them, and their relationship will be over. Will was really good at setting clear boundaries and demonstrating self-accountability. He was a person of his word and refused to shift the blame on someone else for his actions. He was resolute in severing ties if someone crossed those boundaries, prioritizing his principles over preserving his social image. Now you can tell why he had very few friends, because even if it risks his friendships, he wouldn't turn down his terms. Number 4. A remarkable listener. Introverts, coupled with a desire for meaningful conversations, excel at listening, recognizing the essence of a two-way exchange. And since lone wolves like Will are suckers for deep conversations, they like to pay a lot of attention to the speaker, even if it feels like a burden, since it is the only way to understand each other's thoughts well. Will preferred to hear out what the other person has to say with an open mind, steering clear of any argument or conflict. This sign is also a sign of great maturity because it only leads to positive things. Being a keen listener and offering valuable input is a powerful trait, something to take pride in if you too identify as a lone wolf. Number 3. Zero toleration for mistreatment. Lone wolves don't tolerate being gaslighted by someone. No one can even attempt to manipulate these people, particularly in relationships, where cheating and ghosting is an absolute deal breaker. Will, too, created some boundaries that were hard to cross for anybody without paying a huge price. He had reckless behavior when it came to integrity and didn't hold back from taking a stand for himself, eliminating anyone who treated him poorly. Number 2. Excellent moral courage. Lone wolves excel as builders and upholders of moral principles, and Will was no exception. He had a set of moral ethics listed for himself, and he never passed them over. Even when he was faced with risks, threats, peer pressure, and cajoling, Will never compromised on things he had a firm belief in. His commitment to these beliefs extended to speaking up for what was right, irrespective of whether it involved family or loved ones. His inner moral code was an unwavering compass that directed him through the tough paths of life, serving as his only way out when he was doubtful. Similar to the previously discussed traits, this commitment to moral principles proved to be a powerful strength, positively impacting all of Will's relationships. Number 1. Keen observer. Aside from being a remarkable listener, lone wolves are keen observers too. While listening closely to the other person speaking, they also deeply notice their tone, expressions, body posture, and body language. Due to this, lone wolves also consider adjusting their own tone, body language, and posture, realizing how it impacts the listener. Will shared this habit of noticing every single detail that others may blow off unintentionally, enabling him to gain a nuanced understanding of what others were truly communicating. This skill allowed him to encourage others to elaborate further, recognizing that there was often more beneath the surface than what was initially revealed. Wrapping up, That's how Will discovered he wasn't a depressed soul, but actually a rugged lone wolf concealed within a robust shell. If any or all of these traits sound like you are free to consider yourself a lone wolf who isn't a weak introvert but a powerful intellectual with formidable integrity and moral principles.